Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Cordon, the place where every cricketer wants to be. I'm your host, Callum Dunk, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Just quickly, I wanted to give a special shout out to everyone who has been supporting the videos about the Australia and West Indies Test Series. I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect that many views on this particular series compared to something like India and England, but the support shown is certainly great motivation to keep these videos coming. So hopefully you continue to enjoy this series. It's been a very interesting test series. I know that Australia are 2-0 up at the moment, but I do feel like the series is a lot closer considering some of the struggles that the Australians have had with the bat. But it just shows once again the quality of the Australian bowling attack. Mitchell Starc, Nathan Lyon, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazlewood, and the quartet of them together is a serious challenge for opposition sides. And I know the West Indies are at a different stage of their development in Test cricket and the players that they have available, but when you're able to take 20 wickets on a surface that's going up and down, it just shows the quality of the attack, bringing the stumps into play, bringing in all the different modes of dismissals. But let's head back to the first day. And I was a little bit worried once again. A few players putting some performances together, such as Beau Webster and Alex Carey. Alex Carey, who was named man of the match with 93 runs across the two innings, but most importantly, the 63 in the first innings. And in partnership with Beau Webster, were able to see Australia to a score of about 280. And I'd really like some runs from the top three in the first innings to really help set up the games more efficiently for Australia, I suppose. Look, we talked about Sam Constas. I thought he showed a lot more intent in the first innings. I know he was a little bit streaky at points, but I did like the intent a little bit more. Unfortunately for me, Usman Khawaja is still a walking wicket at this point, and I have to stress that I really like Uzi. I love what he's been able to do in his second coming since coming in for the COVID test match in Sydney, where Travis Head got COVID. But I think it is time for a change. I don't think we can keep carrying him. He looks all at sea against the pace, trapped LBW a couple of times, and he just looks seriously jumpy against the quicks. And I've been on this for a while. If you go back to the videos during the Border Gavaskar Trophy, I've been really strong on this. I was even strong on this back when Australia went to New Zealand close to 18 months ago now. And I thought he looked all at sea against Matt Henry, who was a quite superb bowler in those conditions. But, unfortunately, with no one coming through, it doesn't make the job easy for selectors. But I do want them to stick with Constas. He needs time. But once again, Australia is still suffering the consequences of not playing a specialist opener and keeping the boy band together. But having said that, the shot that Constas played on the second day after, there was only 6 overs to bat was extremely poor. He needs to know the time of the game, the situation of the game a little bit better. I understand it's probably a nervous thing. He's still a 19-year-old kid. But I do have concerns about our top order. I know Cameron Green made a 50 in the second innings, which is really pleasing, and hopefully silences the critics a little bit. I do like the potential of him at number 3, and I've said this in the World Test Championship video. He just needs a couple of scores under his belt, and I think he'll get a bit of confidence. Seriously, like the Test career that Beau Webster is putting together at the moment. 60 in the first innings, a couple of wickets in both innings. He is playing the all-rounder role to a high standard, and he doesn't bowl quick. He's sort of around that mid 120s to low 130s pace, but I do like the package that he's offering at the moment. I would certainly be keeping him in the side for Australia when the Ashes roll around. And I know Cameron Green's not bowling at the moment, but with Webster being able to bowl a bit more, I think it does take the pressure off Cameron Green to just focus on his batting for the time being. So yeah, seriously like what he's putting together. Steve Smith in the second innings looked really good. I haven't seen Smithy drive through the covers as well as he sort of did in this particular innings. He made 71, and geez, he's a joy to watch. Didn't have a great shot in the first innings, but was able to respond in the second innings. Once again, hitting through the offside really well, and obviously with his grip, he's a dominant leg side player. But the way that he is able to caress the ball through the cover region in this particular innings, I thought was outstanding to watch. And someone who's probably not going to get a lot of love in this particular game, I suppose. But Nathan Lyon took 6 wickets for the match, and I thought he was able to bowl quite well to the tail. I know the tail went after him, but we've seen with Nathan Lyon, he encourages this from the lower orders. And I thought Pat Cummins' field placings for the lower order were really good. We're able to get a couple of players caught on the boundary. 3 wickets in each innings, and most of those were the tail, but that's what a spinner is there to do, particularly on a wicket that's a little bit up and down. If your spinner can get out the lower order, it's great signs. Let's talk about the West Indies, because it wasn't as a greater performance as what they dished up in the first innings. I know they lost by a greater margin in the first test, but I think they showed better signs in the first test compared to what I saw here. Firstly, I would like to congratulate Craig Brathwaite on 100 test matches. He's been a great servant for West Indies cricket. Unfortunately, playing in a poorer era for them, if we're being perfectly honest. But the fact that he's chosen to stick with Test cricket and not go down the white ball path, I think he should be commended for that. Obviously didn't have the greatest of games here, but we know he's a top-notch player, able to score runs in all conditions around the world, and really sort of been the glue that holds this West Indian batting lineup together for a little bit over a decade now. I believe his debut was in 2012, so him and Mitchell Starc pretty much coming up to play their 100th test matches at the same time. Mitchell Starc playing in the next game his 100th test. But yeah, Craig Brathwaite, very, very solid player, and deserves to be congratulated for what he has achieved so far. I thought Brandon King looked really good for 75 in the first innings, and the way he was able to cut the ball through backward point and through the cover point region was really good. He has shown something at number 4. Waited a long time to play Test cricket, played plenty of white ball cricket for the West Indies, but certainly looks to be finding his place at Test level. And I just really hope that the West Indies can keep a solid batting lineup together. I really like Casey Carey. I think he's tremendous talent. As we said, Craig Brathwaite's been around for a while. John Campbell made a 40-odd in this game, but I don't particularly rate him very highly. Someone else to support Brathwaite going forward would be fantastic. I know finding a really solid opening combination is really difficult. Just ask the Australians at the moment, because we're dealing with a similar issue. But not a fantastic batting performance from the West Indies. Bowled out very cheaply on the 4th day. Not too many players showing resistance. Roston Chase a 34 on the 4th day. But Cardi was really, Brandon King was the only one sort of in that first innings who was able to go on and register a score. I think the more continuity that these West Indian batters can have together, it makes it a lot easier for the coach, Darren Sammy. I really hope that Shai Hope can stick around for a longer period of time. I know there was the young keeper, and his name's escaping me at the moment, who played in the Pakistan series, and I thought he was quite good with the bat. I thought he was quite clean with the gloves, but I understand that the appeal of getting Shai Hope in the side, who has been such a tremendous performer for the West Indies in ODI cricket in particular, I understand why they went down that pathway, because I think they were at risk losing him to the white ball T20 circuit, and you certainly hope that that doesn't continue for the West Indies, and they can really invest in Test cricket. So I thought Shamar Joseph was pretty solid in the first innings, 4 for 61. I think he's been very inconsistent over the course of his career so far. I think he has underperformed overall in Test cricket with the attributes that he has. But in the first Test, it was really Jaden Seals and Shamar Joseph who were really impressive. But this particular game, Alzari Joseph was able to show his worth. And if the West Indies can keep this three seamers together for an extended period of time, I think that's very dangerous going forward, particularly on a surface that's a little bit spicy. I'm not sure what type of wicket we're going to get in the next game, considering that's a day-night game. It will be a little bit easier for me to watch and cover that Test match, which will be really great. But the batting in the second innings for the West Indies was not great. I know they showed some fight in the lower order in the first innings, which was really good. But once again, I think continuity, and they're playing against a high-quality bowling lineup. So let's not, most sides in the world will crumble to that Australian bowling attack. Look at India, what they were able to do over here. The wicket was up and down, perfect for Cummins and Hazlewood, who really target those stumps. So, and I suppose any changes that I would be looking towards for the next game, I expect Australia will stay unchanged. Whether Hazlewood needs a rest. The bowlers haven't had a super high workload this series, so I'd be expecting Hazlewood to be playing this next game, but I do understand the temptation to play the great man Scott Boland. For the West Indies, I think they'll pretty much go in unchanged as well. Jamel Warrican wasn't playing in this particular game, and I think Roston Chase is a serviceable enough off-spinner to combat the four quicks. Anderson Phillip didn't impress me that much in this game, if I'm being particularly honest. So whether they look to make a change and bring in a different quick, we'll have to wait and see. So Australia won the second Test match by 133 runs. I think a much better performance overall from Australia. West Indies have some certain question marks on their batting, but I don't think the West Indies could have asked too much more of their bowlers in the first couple of Test matches. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for the second Test match review between India and England, which India were able to win by over 300 runs. So that's a fantastic result, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.